Number 1. Corrupt cops get sued after highly illegal arrest. Just before 11 p.m. on May 30th, 2021, officers Nicholas Hanning and Ellie Summers of the Idaho Springs Police Department in Idaho Springs, Colorado, responded to a 911 call from Timothy Braden and his roommate, Brittany Odom, who had just moved into a new apartment building. They alleged that their new 75-year-old neighbor, Michael Clark, had punched Miss Odom in the face after a noise dispute. The officers arrived at the apartment building and knocked on Mr. Braden and Ms. Odom's door.
Do you need to be behind this traffic stop?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
It's my son right there. He was following me.
Okay, he's on a traffic stop, so you don't need to be behind it.
You gotta be mean.
Oh, I'm not being mean. We just don't like when people pull in behind us.
I don't like them to kill myself.
That's what we get paid to do, to pull people over.
Well, you don't get paid to be.
But you don't either, okay? I don't got to put up with you. Okay, I asked you a simple question, okay? In fact, you need to leave now or you're going to get charged. It's that easy. I'm recording too. I asked you a simple question. If you have attitude, that's your problem, okay?
You're coming on my door.
Yeah, you saw me and you rolled your window up when I came. Hold on a second, okay?
No.
You rolled your window up when I walked up, okay? So I knocked on your window, okay? You are not a cop. You don't need to be behind me, okay? So you need to leave right now.
I don't need to do anything.
You got 5 seconds to leave, okay? There's no reason for you to be behind this traffic stop. No reason, okay? No reason, okay?
It's not a public
No
street.
reason.
Do I not pay taxes?
Do you always stop behind cops when they pull people over?
I ain't stopped right behind it.
Okay, you don't need to be here. You don't need to be here, okay?
After briefly talking with Ms. Odom, the officers walked away and knocked on Mr. Clark's door. It was evident that Ms. Odom was intoxicated throughout her conversation with the officers, and there was absolutely no evidence of the various injuries she described. It's also worth noting that Ms. Odom had a substantial criminal record, including a 2016 conviction of fraud in the first degree for providing a false identity to police officers. She also had multiple felony domestic violence charges and a conviction for DUI. When the officers knocked on Mr. Clark's door without identifying themselves as the police, Mr. Clark answered the door holding a collectible sawfish snout sword made from the bill of a sawfish. In a later statement, he explained that he thought it was his neighbor's and grabbed the sword in case he needed to protect himself. Upon opening the door, Officer Hanning stepped into the apartment, appeared to shove Mr. Clark, and ordered him to put down the sword. Mr. Clark immediately complied, returning the sword to the top of a bookshelf. However, when Officer Hanning ordered Mr. Clark to step out of the apartment, while Officer Summers simultaneously ordered him to lie down, Mr. Clark refused to do either. Officer Hanning immediately fired his taser without warning. When hit by the taser, Mr. Clark fell to the ground, hitting his head on a dining chair and losing consciousness.
Get out the car! Stop it now! Get out the car! Get out the car! Get out the car! Stop it now! Now! Get out of the car! Now! What the hell do you think you're doing?
I ain't doing anything.
Okay. Now you're on a traffic stop and you're trying to drive away?
Get out the car. Call state police.
Get out the car. Has nothing to do with anything. Okay? They don't have jurisdiction over it. Get out of the car now. No.
I got my truck.
Don't give a clear the park.
I just did, pal.
Sit down as well. Don't pull away from me.
I'm not.
You're going to get lit up.
I'm not.
Okay, you're going to get...
After Mr. Clark lost consciousness, the officers did not call for medical assistance. Instead, they dragged his unconscious body into the hallway. When they finally requested EMTs to the scene, Officer Hanning retrieved Mr. Clark's sword from the top of the bookshelf in his apartment and dropped it in the hallway. Although they never explicitly admit to it, the officers appeared to be staging a crime scene to make it look like Mr. Clark was attacking them with the sword when the taser was deployed.
Hands behind your back. I'm going. Put your hands. I'm going peacefully, son. Get back. Hey, he's recording this case, but that's fine. He can record all he wants. This is case, guys.
You do what you're told, all right? You think it's okay just to roll up on traffic stops and not do what you're told? Now you go to jail.
That's all right. I'm a
Turn around, face the traffic.
I'm already cuffed. Your dad's not listening. If he listens, he won't get manhandled.
Now let's go.
Move.
Let's go.
That's great. You need to stay down. Get in the car. Get in the car. Get in when you. I'm gonna crazy. Get in the car. Get down.
You have your wallet on you?
Don't do that, man.
I'm gonna get you out. I'm gonna pass search you. Now get out.
I got my wallet.
Get out now. Get out now.
Mr. Clark was immediately taken to a hospital, and despite the officer's threats, he was never criminally charged. A toxicology screen revealed no alcohol or illegal drugs in his system. On June 1st, 2021, 2 days after being tased, Mr. Clark suffered a stroke while still in the hospital. He remains unable to care for himself and requires 24-hour supervision and care. In July 2021, Officer Hanning was charged with assault in the 3rd degree against an at-risk person, a Class 6 felony offense. He was terminated from his position at the Idaho Springs Police Department. He pled guilty to the charge in January 2022 and was sentenced to 2 years of probation, 120 days of electronic home monitoring, and 150 hours of community service. He was not charged with any offenses related to the apparent cover-up attempt after he tasered Mr. Clark. Officer Summers resigned from her position at the Idaho Springs Police Department in October 2021, but she was not charged with any crimes. In July 2021, Mr. Clark filed a federal lawsuit against the Idaho Springs Police Department. On November 2nd, 2022, Mr. Clark's attorney announced that the lawsuit had settled for $7 million. However, the city maintained that the settlement was not an admission of liability, but was done for economic reasons and to bring closure to all involved.
I open the door, I start, get out the car, stop the car. He runs it while I'm holding on to the car. So I had him at gunpoint. Then he puts the car in reverse, backs up, almost hits Henry's car while I'm still holding on to the car. And we tried getting him out of the car, and he had the car in drive, and he accelerated, but it didn't go nowhere.
We tried to get him out, and he was refusing, and then when we tried to put him in, he was refusing. So I tased him, and then I tried to get him out to pass search him and get his wallet because he wouldn't tell me anything. And then that's when you rolled up.
Okay.
I'm going to get him over to the jail.
Just goes to show you how far some tyrant cops can go to take things despite not knowing the full scale of an incident. Kind of like the cop in our next story, who arrested an innocent civilian holding a sign in a church on trespassing charges. Number 2, pastor gets cop sued after having innocent man arrested. On the morning of April 18, 2021, Titus Hartford stood in front of the Calvary Chapel in Chattanooga, Tennessee, holding up a sign that read, "The Apostle Paul taught the opposite of what Jesus taught." While the congregation drove past and into the church parking lot to attend Sunday service, Mr. Hartford stood on a public sidewalk next to the church parking entrance. He greeted a parking lot attendant and informed him of why he was there.
Correcting some of the oppositions to his teachings. I can't really get kicked off of public property, so I reckon I'll just stay here in the safe zone. Well, I'm in the middle of, this is not the time to do it. But later. Tonight, this evening.
Now it's the only time convenient for me.
Well, then I guess.
The truth.
Hey, buddy.
Hey,
What's going on?
how are you?
Yeah. Hey, man. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
What's your name? I'm Darren.
I'm choosing not to reveal that at this time.
That's okay. I was just wanting to introduce myself. What can I help you with today, man?
Just help me get my message out.
You know, it's great that you have your theological and doctrinal belief, but do you really think this is the best place to try to get that message out? Why?
Yeah. Because this is a church that's popular.
Which teaches the Word of God, where He changes people's lives. So why would you?
Maybe there's people who want to go forward in their relationship with Jesus.
Yeah, man. You know, and I know you're smart enough to where I see that you're standing on on public property. It's the sidewalk. But man, can we not just agree today, maybe not to have this happen? Well, I have our congregation. I'm a shepherd, right? So
a hireling.
No, I'm called by God, brother. We don't do hirelings here.
The reason you don't teach the teachings of Jesus is because you flee when you see all the wolves coming in here.
I don't flee from anything, but I'm standing here in front of a person that I feel might be a wolf. So I'm going to ask you very kindly, just for the consideration of God Almighty and the congregation that comes here, church. Can we just put this thing away today?
No.
And then go and maybe have lunch?
I'm invoking my constitutional
Mr. Delaney, who was the pastor, asks Mr. Hartford to put the sign away and leave, but Mr. Hartford refused, stating that he's invoking his constitutional rights. At first, Mr. Delaney tried to reason with Mr. Hartford. However, after his failed attempts to convince Mr. Hartford, he called the sergeant and claimed that Mr. Hartford was being a public nuisance by standing on the sidewalk with his sign.
But there's also a thing to where there's a legal thing that says that you become legally, if you become a public nuisance, and we feel that it is, I can call Chattanooga.
Well, then call the police. There it is.
And then say that you
If
were
I'm breaking the law, arrest me.
You're making a scene right now, aren't you, Sergeant? Am I correct in my understanding, sir, of the law? If he and I are having a problem with people and we're causing an upright and a scene in front of people, is that?
Mind if I talk to him?
Yeah, you're welcome to talk to him, but you ain't gonna get nowhere.
No. I mean, I'm ready to have a Bible study.
Well, then come on inside and talk to me. Just get your Bible. Let's go open it up.
I don't want to play into your hand because I know what happens when I go in there. Then I become
Have you ever
subject
been
to
in here
your
before? Yes, you have, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
I know exactly who you are, bro. You don't think I remember who you are? Why can't we just go inside and have a civil conversation, you and I, that we were not out here making a fool of ourselves?
Well, when I get done doing what I'm doing, I'll call you or email you. Just leave me your contact information and we'll go from there.
This is not working well for me.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. You should have put your house on more solid ground.
Listen, man, can you do me a favor? Just not open this again, please. I'm asking you guys a man to man. There's no reason.
No. Preach from the rooftops.
Well, number one, you're on the street corner. Okay, it's wrong.
Well,
and your message is going to fall in deaf ears. Okay.
It might, but it also might fall on some good ground and bring forth fruit.
So listen, man. Nobody here is paying any attention to your side. Okay.
I think I'm making a big demonstration. Did you see that?
Todd, number one, you don't have my permission to film me, so don't film me anymore.
I can film you all I want.
I said no, sir. Okay.
Hey,
no.
Don't touch my stuff.
Get off my property.
I'm not on your property.
Get off my property, dude.
I'm not on your property.
Listen, man, leave. Hey, Sarge, can you call a district car? I think we have a public problem here right now with me and him. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
You
sir.
should get a better job, man.
Officer James Elliott, who was a member of the Cavalry Chapel, told Mr. Hartford that he was trespassing on church property and then placed him under arrest when he refused to provide his identification.
Leave me your contact information. We'll study the Bible.
Contact information. We've had this conversation before, bro.
Okay, well, contact me. We'll study the Bible. Hey, how you doing? Name and badge number, please.
You got an ID on you?
Name and badge number.
Elliot, 1099. Where's your ID, bro?
That's irrelevant. Have I committed a crime?
Yeah, you're trespassing. You're refusing to leave, man.
I'm on public property. This is a sidewalk.
Church property. Let me see your ID.
This is a sidewalk.
Let me see your ID. Need your ID or you're gonna go to jail.
This is a sidewalk. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, I need your ID.
Okay. Maybe that was.
Give me your ID or are you gonna go to jail?
I'm not gonna give you my ID. I have no reason to.
Put your arm behind your back.
I'm on the sidewalk, so I don't see why I'm being arrested. This is not a stop and ID state. Why are you so upset at this church now? I'm not upset at that. I'm trying to make a theological point that I wasn't allowed to make uninterrupted.
After arresting Mr. Hartford, Officer Elliott confiscated his camera and his sign, taking him to jail, where he was held long enough to miss 2 days of work. Mr. Hartford was eventually charged with criminal trespass, but the charge was ultimately dismissed after nearly a year. On February 7, 2022, Mr. Hartford filed a pro se federal lawsuit against Officer Elliott for deprivation of civil rights. In his handwritten complaint, Mr. Hartford stated that he had pled guilty to a trespassing charge involving the same church in 2016, and that the district attorney for that case advised him that he was allowed to be on the sidewalk surrounding the church, which is why he chose to stand there with his sign. He also alleged that Officer Elliott claimed in his police report that Mr. Hartford was standing in the church parking lot when he remained on the sidewalk. Mr. Hartford's lawsuit is still pending.
border too. Are you gonna stop us here? No. I'd like to do a Sergeant Atwood called in about him. Yeah. I'll go talk to him. So.
If you think this story was crazy, then wait until you see this next one, where an officer comes up with made-up laws in order to make an arrest. Number 3. Cops get sued after making up fake laws. On February 10th, 2018, around 6:30 p.m., Deputy Samantha Demirtas of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Department arrived at the home of Winsboro, South Carolina resident Jada Martin. Ms. Martin had called to report harassing phone calls. Ms. Martin lived in an area where all adjacent lots were owned by her relatives and were considered to be family land. While Deputy DeMartis was taking Ms. Martin's report, family members Kareem Martin Keene and Avery Martin were conducting a firearm target practice on another portion of the property.
Walmart, Keene Walmart. She's telling me to come to Walmart to fight her or whatever. Let me see if I can call Tay and see if she knows her last name.
Y'all know what's going on?
No.
Central 144. Central 144, I've got several gunshots over here. Is that you firing over there? Show me your hands. Show me your hands now. Put it down. You have any other weapons on you? Put your hands on your head. Interlace your fingers. Now. You have any other weapons on you? Come over here. Get down on the ground. On the ground, now. What are y'all shooting at? What are y'all shooting at? What are you shooting at?
We can't shoot out here?
Whose property is it?
My property.
Whose?
My property.
Is it in your name?
Might be.
Mm-hmm. Keep on getting smart. End up going to jail tonight. Mm-hmm. What are y'all shooting at?
We can't shoot. Shooting my property.
You see what time it is?
Shooting my property.
Mm-hmm.
That's illegal.
Deputy DeMartis alleged that it is illegal to discharge a firearm when it is dark outside. However, there is no state statute or local ordinance that prohibits explicitly target practice or other shooting after sundown and called for backup. Sergeant Timothy Inman and Sergeant Chris Darner of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Department arrived on the scene and began to question Kareem and Keenan, who remained silent and refused to identify themselves. The officers then placed Kareem and Keenan in the back of the cruiser while Deputy DeMartis explained the situation. She then returned to complete the original report regarding Ms. Martin's threatening phone calls, leaving Sergeants Inman and Darner to question Kareem and Keenan.
Mm-hmm. What's your names? What's your names? Central, I've got 2 black male subjects refusing to identify themselves. Got a shotgun and what appears to be a handgun. Let's make it easy on yourselves. What were y'all shooting at?
We're just shooting.
Okay. I suggest you not move. Shooting on your property, family's property is no issue. When you got a deputy out here trying to do a report, it's dark. Common sense. Okay, you knew they were shooting out there?
Yeah, they were shooting earlier.
You got IDs on you, gentlemen? You're being detained so I can identify you.
For what? What was I detained for?
You're being identified so I can identify who you are and then see if you're also clear. How old are you?
But what was I detained for?
Okay, keep on. So I've got it on camera. Let's go. I've got it on camera that y'all are discharging weapons in an unsafe manner in the air.
How you see me though? How you see me in front of the house?
Okay. All right.
What we do?
Look, I got no issue with letting y'all go. Okay, especially if your grandma says this is her property and y'all's property. I just want to run you and make sure.
I'm just saying though, like, so like, what's the issue with us identifying
Where's the
ourselves?
weed
It's
at?
all right.
Where's the weed at?
Am I lying?
What you mean,
Where's the
got some
weed at? Am I lying? So?
Okay.
Man.
All right. All right.
Anybody got no weed?
The sergeants allege that individuals must hand their IDs to police officers anytime they request them. However, South Carolina does not have a stop and identify law. Kareem and Keenan were eventually taken to jail and released the next day after being cited for breach of the peace. Kareem and Keenan sued the officers for misrepresenting the law and wrongful arrest. The case is still ongoing. If you want to watch more videos of tyrant cops getting fired and sued, then please subscribe to the channel.